welcome everyone here today. We think this is a rather momentous occasion. I want to spend just a few minutes talking about the importance of what we're doing here, if I can, and then provide you with a brief preview of what's in your packet. But and I would also like to thank the responsible gambling partners, the Casino Commission, the Lottery Commission, and the Racing Commission, for the work that we have collectively been doing together around this problem. Now, just briefly, in terms of the importance of this particular process, in terms of what we're going through, obviously the decision to implement in a much broader scale the availability of gambling in our state was a significant and important decision. It's going to raise a significant amount of funds for our state, and to a large degree, we still don't have a clear idea or understanding of how this is going to impact our state from this perspective of problem gambling. But what we did, and what is, we believe, pretty unusual about what we've done, is we've collected data prior to the implementation of increased gambling opportunities, so that we could measure at the very beginning the degree to which problem and pathological gambling is affecting the citizens of our state. So that therein lies what I believe to be the most important element of what we're doing here today. We now have a clear understanding of the degree to which problem and pathological gambling does impact our state, and we'll be able to remeasure a few years down the road after the casinos and the racinos have been open to determine the extent to which these increased gambling opportunities have affected those two social problems in Ohio. So, without too much further ado, in terms of your packet, what you have is an agenda for today, a 4-page summary of survey highlights, a 1-page summary of the methodology that we use to collect and analyze the data, and a list of the responsible gambling partners that work with us on the development of this program. Now, with no further ado, I would like to introduce former Speaker of the House, Joanne Davidson, who is currently the chair of the Ohio Casino Control Commission, for a few brief comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Homer. Thank you very much. Good morning. Just a little over a year and a half ago, the Ohio Casino Control Commission actually was formed and started operating, and its key responsibilities are to regulate and ensure the integrity of casino gambling in our state. And clearly there had been gambling in our state before, but this obviously increases the opportunities for gambling. Many people obviously like casinos perhaps better than they do any of the other gambling opportunities in the state. And frankly, we really didn't have much idea of just what the situation was. The casino law, which was adopted by the legislature shortly before we got formed, actually required that we have a problem gaming operation as part of the casino responsibilities. And so we knew that we were going to be charged with that. We knew that we were going to have the ability to work with ODATIS as we worked through that particular issue, and it became very clear to us and members of the commission that we needed to know more about it. We brought in a lot of outside speakers from other states to talk about what they were doing. We brought in some of the experts across the country to share what they knew about it and what needed to be done. But there was clearly a question about what do we need to do to be sure there are adequate services. One of the good things about the casino control law in the state of Ohio is that it requires that this number, this problem gaming number, be posted on every bit of advertising at the casinos. If you come by one of the big billboards, you'll see the number there. It even gives us the ability to dictate what's the size of the font that is used. So any marketing material that you're going to get for the casino, any public advertising that you see, and then posted throughout the casino itself, will be information on how you get help if you want to know more about how to resolve your problem, if you happen to be a problem gaming, or if you happen to have somebody in your family that fits in that category. And so each casino also, in their own property, must file with us a plan of how they're going to address problem gaming as far as the training of their employees, because they're on the ground, they're the people that can recognize that there might be a problem, and so they have to do that training on an ongoing basis so their employees know how to recognize it and are prepared to deal with it. You know that the 2% of a casino tax revenue is set aside for the purpose of treating addiction services, which will now include gambling addiction services, and that will be helped to be funded through this additional source of money. I think the survey, as Director Hall said, is the beginning of giving us a chance to look at where we are today. And we completed these surveys in the cities before the casinos were open. So we have a clear picture of where we started in Ohio, and as these casinos come online, then we're going to have something to be able to measure it against. So we can have an indication of how many services that we actually need and where to put our money in doing that. In addition to the counseling services that are held out there are other tools that will be available. We have a voluntary exclusion program under the Casino Control Commission. So anyone that believes that they have a problem, wants to be restricted from entering the casino, can sign up for the voluntary inclusion program. They go through a personal interview to be sure that they understand what they're agreeing to. They can agree to a 1-year or a 5-year or a lifetime prohibition against entering the casino. And so we also have that information available, and it will be widely distributed and placed around the casinos. So we're looking over the period of time to see this baseline survey and use it then as we do additional surveys in the future to measure how much gambling problems may have increased, if they have increased from casino presence, and then we'll be able to direct the funds working with ODATAS to the people that need it the most. And those will not just be counseling services, there will be every effort to prevent it. There will be educational services. I'm delighted that we have Laura Clements here with us, who is obviously handling that within the Casino Control Commission, and just want to assure you that it's a major priority for the members of our commission, and we look forward to working with our partners on this and doing everything possible we can to bring the kind of attention to problem gaming in Ohio and to deal with it in counseling services or treatment services as we move forward. Thank you very much. And I think our next speaker is a member of the Commission, the Lottery Commission, Clarence Mingo, Franklin County Auditor. Clarence.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Clarence Mingo, Commissioner with the Ohio Lottery, and on behalf of the Ohio Lottery Commission, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for your commitment to resolving problem gambling throughout the state of Ohio. Now, this is a serious issue. We know that in the coming weeks, months, and perhaps years, this issue undoubtedly will command more of our time and attention, and thus the need for public awareness must be greater. And we at the Ohio Lottery understand that, and we are prepared. Since the Ohio Lottery's inception in 1974, we have always taken very seriously our commitment to problem gambling. We were the first lottery in the nation in the 1980s to implement a problem gambling awareness campaign. And we were neither short-sighted nor slack in the 1990s when we established a problem gambling hotline. So we have been very diligent throughout the years to ensure that Ohioans have a resource to turn to when dealing with issues relative to gambling. We've also funded many initiatives to ensure that our state residents have alternatives to turn to when they encounter these problems. We have ensured that our network of professional social workers have sufficient education to understand both problem and pathological gaming. We've also funded over the years an annual conference that ensures that our social work professionals have up-to-date information on an annual basis that reflects what's happening in the field of problem gambling. So we have a fantastic history, and a very strong foundation has been set statewide for our efforts. We also understand that that foundation must be stronger. With the advent of casinos and VLTs, we clearly recognize a new responsibility and an obligation to be present for our citizens should they encounter problem gambling. And for that reason, we were able to fund the Problem Gambling Survey, which has yielded rich information and which sets forth a path for us to walk upon in dealing with this issue in the future. Our goal at the Ohio Lottery is to ensure that Ohio is both equipped, prepared, and present to deal with this issue as our residents in the state encounter it, and we will ensure that those goals are met. Now, it is my pleasure once again to welcome you here on behalf of the Ohio Lottery. Also want to thank our agency partners that we've worked closely with through the years. Certainly the Casino Commission, the Racing Commission, and most notably ODATIS. And in closing, I'd like to welcome our next speaker, the Chairman of the Racing Commission, Mr. Robert Schmitz.
Sir. I'm going to play like they play in church. Good morning. Too many people sit in the front row for church. Well, they've saved the best for the last. We've had pari-mutuel racing, gambling, or pari-mutuel wagering on horse racing since the 1930s. I guess we're a mature industry. It's interesting that as I look in the crystal ball for the future, we do have a new facility that opened up at Scioto Downs. It's the first of the 7 racinos that will be operating at racetracks in Ohio. One of the primary purposes of this is obviously to, it's a lottery game. The Racing Commission has nothing to do with the regulation and operation of these lottery games. However, our racetracks provide a venue where these games are played. It's been interesting to watch as Scioto Downs opened up early in June, the cross-pollination between folks that play the gamble on these new video lottery terminals and the folks that participate in horse racing. It's refreshing to see folks come over to the horse racing side of things and participate, enjoy the beauty of horse racing. As I said, there's one up. There'll be 6 more coming in the not too distant future, which presents a challenge for not only horse racing, but our fellow Ohioans when it comes to problem gambling, or whatever is the proper term. This survey presents a baseline for us. It presents a roadmap as we move forward to deal with folks that have problem gambling issues. And the Racing Commission looks forward to working with we have a new acronym here, the Ohio, what is this? Not racing, is it? No, responsible gaming. All right. And with our partners, we have done, we've had a lot of cross-pollination with the Ohio Casino Control Commission, and also, obviously, the Ohio Lottery Commission as we move forward with our racinos. Now I'm going to introduce